We're going to go to Snowden in Canada. No pronouns given. How is intelligent design coordinated? Why was I given joints? Why do my eyes lubricate? Why aren't we just rocks? So did you want?
Can I answer the question? Can I start off first?
Yeah, I was going to ask you if you want to kind of elaborate on that, and then I'm going to have Ben take over.
Okay, so let me first start by saying that how I am somewhat of an agnostic, okay? I don't think it's so much about if there's a God or not. I think it's what do we call God? I think that's the question we need to be asking ourselves, because we are here, we're communicating, there's function going on here. So obviously we were created by something or developed by something. Even if that's evolution, I consider that could be God if you want, because there's coordination going on here. So my question is this, okay? Intelligent design, okay? Why, if you look at just the hand alone, I won't even get into the eyeballs or anything like that. If you look at the hands alone, right? Why our fingers have joints on them? Why not just straight fingers? Why was I given a thumb and joints on my hand to hold onto a ball to grasp something? Why is even my hand at the end of my arms? Why not coming out of my ears? Why not coming out of my hips? Why was it put right on my arm where I can extend it and also have an elbow to bend my hand as well? Exactly. What coordinates these?
So
look at the eyeball.
Let me counter a little bit. Because it's very easy to look at the human body and say that, wow, this is incredible that we're able to do these things with our body. But really taking this and breaking it apart into engineering components and to the anatomy itself, if you really analyze it, the human body is not that well organized. In fact, your example right now is the hand and the arm. Let's take the arm. The arm is a great example. The arm is a class 3 lever. It is one of the worst levers for being able to move objects. And you, granted, you get some mobility. That's what you gain from having a class 3 lever. But the amount of force that you'd have to put into your arm to lift, not even to lift, to just isometrically hold a weight in your hand, it's several times more. And I don't have the calculations in front of me, but I remember doing these calculations in a kinesiology class. The amount of force you have to put to just hold a weight in your hand, because if you think about your hand and your arm, the weight is in your hand. It's way far away from the fulcrum. And so the amount of force you're putting in is significantly higher with a class 3 lever than it would be if you were to have like a teeter-totter and you had the fulcrum in the middle and you could just put the weight on one side. So thinking about it being, in an engineering perspective, very, very impractical for the energy, does that play a factor in how you would think about the arm?
No, you've changed my question, actually. You failed to answer the question. And I'll tell you why, okay? All you've done is compared the arm to something that could be better than the arm. But you haven't explained why. Let's take the eyeball as another example, okay? The eyeball has all these rods and all these things going on that makes it function, okay? And it's round. It has this panoramic view as well, you know? What coordinated all of these things to work in a function that was functionable for us? It's like, again, why weren't we just rocks? Why were we given, look at the arm. Let's go back to the arm if you want.
So there's a problem with how we're approaching this. There's a problem. And I think this is something that is commonly done. You seem to want to relate all this back to one thing. You're lumping a bunch of factors together, and instead of looking at it individually, because these are a bunch of pieces that happen to be associated, but do you think that maybe you are associating all of these factors with one cause when maybe there are multiple factors at play?
Well, that's what I'm doing. I'm trying to figure out what coordinated all these factors to give us these functions. Why aren't we just a rock? Again, how did we develop all of these functions that are coordinated to make us do these things? Why were we given eyes? Why are we giving 2 eyes? Why a neck to turn?
I'm trying to, Snowden, I'm kind of confused. Like, because when you're saying like, why were we given eyes or something, like, I don't know that's the right.
Yeah, why aren't we a rock?
I don't even know how to digest the question. Like, there are rocks, right? And we're not those things. And we had the different environmental pressures that like a rock doesn't succumb to. I'm not really understanding what the yeah. So what are you like? Just help me out here. What is help me get to the end. What is it? I'm not really following.
How did I, right, compared to a rock, right? Why do I have all of these functioning things to be able to sit on this computer and talk to you? Why isn't a rock have the same thing? Why am I given all of these functions that that makes me able to get up, go and do something and make something of myself, right? And why am I given I have all these tools, fingernails, I have saliva and a teeth to chew on food, to take it down, to digest in my system, right?
So can we reframe? I want to challenge you to
mute for a second.
I want to challenge you to reframe your question real quick, because we are inserting bias already. The fact that you are saying given, you're approaching it with the assumption that there was something to be given, or that there's something else there. Can you reframe the question for us in a way that does not imply that factor?
Yeah, and also if you're just going to say like, why do we have, real fast, if you're just going to say, why do we, real fast, Zonin, if you're just going to ask like, why don't we have these things, and you called into like an atheist show for Talk Heathen rather than talking to like a biologist or just, you know, doing, I don't really understand like why that you would think you're going to get all the answers that are going to satisfy you here. It's like, you might as well just say like, why are we here? Why do we exist? Why do we have consciousness? Like everybody, we're all asking these questions, but like, I don't know why, what you think I'm going to give to you that's going to make you get off the phone and say, oh, okay, I get it now.
Okay. Can I go now? This is why I'm bringing the rock into the situation, okay? We could have just been a rock sitting in space and time, just sitting there doing nothing, okay? This is why I bring in the rock again. Why is it that we have all of these functioning parts of our bodies that allows us to do all of these things? Why are we able to see? What is the purpose of us being able to see where we're going?
Okay.
Again, compared to a rock, right?
So once again, here, I'm going to take this in a little bit of a different direction. But also, once again, we are inserting given, and we're inserting a why as if there's a purpose to this. Let's take that out because we're putting some bias in. But I want to ask you some questions here. Just brainstorming, because I think we're making some leaps from one point to another without really thinking about where we're going. What are some differences, even on the small level? What are some differences between a rock and a person?
A rock doesn't have the ability to move around and do the things that we're doing. It's just
okay. So how come a rock can't do those things? What's different about a human that makes me able to do those things and a rock can't?
That's my question. Why do we have all of these functioning parts, right, that are coordinated, able to us to function?
Yeah, so let's think about that, because there's some things that we know about how the structure would change the function. Structure and function are related, right? So what are some things that allow a human to move? Let's take movement as a great example. What factors in my body, what parts, what physiology allows me to do that?
Mm-hmm. Example like legs. Putting one foot in front of the other one allows me to move.
So what things with the legs allow me to move?
Toes. Gives me balance.
We have muscles, right?
Yeah, we have muscles, toes to give us balance.
Okay.
Arch. We have heels and all these things. We have two legs so that you can put one in front of the other and be balanced as you move towards.
Mm-hmm. So what allows the leg? What allows the muscles of the leg to move?
the trigger from your brain telling it to move.
Okay. Yeah.
Your
So we have some
brain
neural
just
inputs.
move like, what's that? Yes.
Yeah. So we also have some muscle
Neural
fibers,
inputs.
right? We have some compounds that act. We have some tropomyosin. We have some ATP.
Yeah.
We have a bunch of factors here, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So we've given a bunch of reasons, a bunch of factors of why a human is not a rock, right?
Okay. So we understand that, right?
Uh-huh.
We both get that, right? So my question to you is why? How come if there's no if we're not intelligently designed, right? How did
Well, I think we're getting there, right? We're establishing that a human is not a rock. We've given some examples of why a human is not a rock, and we're already breaking this down to why a human can do these things. We've established that muscles can help a human to do this versus a rock. Yeah. We have some whys here, and we don't need to jump to a supernatural why. We have some very concrete, demonstrable whys, and I think. Do we need to jump to a spiritual why or a supernatural why?
But how did it coordinate itself to give us all these different functions, like an eyeball, for example, eyelashes that whisk away water that's coming down off of our eyes to go.
We could break this down further. We'd be here all day, but just in the same method I just took you through, we could do that same method for every part of the body. And this would take me probably a year to just talk about how the body works together and the factors involved. But I think we can demonstrate why.
Yeah, and look at just like something like something like the eye, right? Where you have like light sensitive cells that distinguish like a distinction between dark and give certain advantages, right?
And
then once
it lets light in and stuff like that.
So right. Yeah, so right, and so when you have like the ability to real fast, okay, please, right? So when you have the ability to have like more cells to distinguish like different angles of light or things that are gonna benefit the organism or something like that, and then I don't know the term. I think it's like Ben might know it's like a globule or something that forms like a cup, right? The point of saying this is that we could take like, you asked this question, why do we have this? Because I'm looking at the notes. Why do my eyes lubricate? Why was I given joints? Why aren't we just rocks? It's going to be impossible to take this call because like we could talk forever on just like looking at intermediate species that have these different stages of development of the eye and showing like, hey, like inoculus, or I don't know if that's the right organism. I'm terrible with organisms, which we discussed before the show. But you're right. We can see like these different types of intermediate stages, and we could sit there forever and show you these things. But I just think you're just going to ask, well, why is this? Why is that? And it's just like the toddler asking why every time. So no offense, Snowden, but we're gonna have to move on. I got 8 calls on, and I got to move on to other callers. But if you want to call in next week and have a conversation, we could do that. We got to move on to other callers.
Can I just say one thing before I hang up?
Sure.
My thing isn't about why, right? My thing is on intelligent design. This is compared to a rock. We are clearly intelligently designed. Something coordinated all of these things to function.
Now we have something to talk about, all right? And like if you're I'm gonna put you on mute. If you're just gonna ask us why, but you say that you have an explanation for the phenomenon, it's best explained by intelligent design, then that burdens on you, right? Asking us questions on something that you don't think is the case because you've already solved why we have what we have, then provide the argument, right? Render the argument or give the evidence, but don't just waste our time for 13 minutes asking questions that you apparently have the solution to, right? That just seems nonsensical to me. So I'm gonna give you a chance. You can give us what you think is the evidence for intelligent design. Let you give your case. You have 30 seconds. I'll give you the Matt treatment, right? You get 30 seconds. If you veer off, I'm just gonna move on to another caller. You're off mute. Or you're not off mute. Now you're off mute. Apologies.
What? Oh, okay.
You're off.
I didn't call to. I'm on that. Okay. I didn't call to tell you that I have all the answers to what it is and why we have all these functions. My thing is to say that how clearly there's some sort of intelligent design happening here because we have all of these functioning parts that are coordinated to do these particular moves and give us these things to do instead of like a rock just sitting there doing nothing.
Okay.
So clearly we have clearly we've been intelligently designed to function in a particular way that a rock can't do it. So, and
Okay.
how are these things coordinated if there's nothing?
So
Let's say an alien designed us, for example. Why not an alien be God that designed us, for example? Is what I'm trying
okay,
to
so we're going off in a lot of directions. Let's keep the first example. So let me help real quick. So you are asserting that
God to be alien as
because these are coordinated, that we have intelligent design. How would we demonstrate that? What are some things that we could do to design a study that would tell us whether or not intelligent design caused this to happen?
Hello?
You're here? Were you not? I put you on mute so you could listen to him. Did you hear did you hear what Ben said or no?
Yeah, I heard him. Yeah, I heard him.
Okay.
I heard him. Do you want me to say
Yeah,
something?
so we have the question. So how would we demonstrate this?
How do we demonstrate what did you say?
Intelligent design. If that's the cause, we should be able to put it to the test, and we should be able to demonstrate that that is the cause. So how could we set up a study so that we could demonstrate it? What variables do you think could be at play that we'd need to isolate to look at this?
Can I tell you what my answer is to that?
Yeah, that's what he's asked. That's what we're.
Yeah. I think what you're doing is you're making this more difficult than it needs to be. We could just use our common sense.
No, you can't.
No, you can't. Hey, look, you want me to show you why you can't? My common sense is antithetical to yours. It says that there's no design, right? Okay, now what? Do you think that has force? Do you think that has any force on you? Me just saying I detected intuitionally that I have this common sense? No, that's not the case, right? Do you think that your common sense leads you to the true conclusions most of the times?
No, the common sense allows you to be able to distinguish things and discern things. For example, bones as a structure, and then skin covering up all of these different things to keep it all together so we can have a human being, right? You need to have skin covering over the blood, the veins, the bones, and everything, keeping it.
And we need an intelligent design of peanuts that can kill people to go alongside of it too, right? Like I'm not really understanding why that would be common sense, because to me it's common sense that a peanut could kill my friend, and that doesn't seem very intelligently designed to me, right? So I guess my common sense wins, right? If we're just going to use a methodology of common sense and not give a shit about what we believe in the world, then my common sense is just better than yours. Why? Because it's common sense. Do I need to actually provide independent justification? No, because I'll just side with my common sense because I'm irresponsible and don't care about knowing the truth. That's what you sound like.
No. Clearly, we have functions that a rock doesn't have, right? So we have a design about us. Clearly, we've been designed in a way that...
Okay, stop right there. Stop right there. I disagree with clearly we are designed. What is the justification that we are designed? Give the justification. Don't just tell me clearly we are, right? That if you think that has any motivational force for me to believe your claim, like that's mind-blowing to me, right? Why is it clearly the case, right? Provide justification.
Because of all the functions we have in our body, right? We can see that we can do certain things that let's say a rock can't do, for example. So in order for us to do all these things, there's a coordination going on here in our bodily functions in order for us to be able to do a thing that a rock can't do, okay? Our veins serve a purpose, right? Our heart serves a purpose to pump blood and to like as an engine. Our brains are like computers.
Snowden, nothing you have said is inconsistent with a naturalist view, right? Nothing you've said, right? Nothing at all, right? That's actually precisely the things that you're invoking, right? When you even have the knowledge of like the heart pumping blood and things like that, don't come from like this assumption that it was designed, right? You're having to like use the infrastructure that was built on the method that seemingly you deny, right? In order for you to stand on top of the building and shout your ignorance, right? That's what's going on. You're going to have to, you can't just like you can't bastardize what other people did in their novel predictions and then be like, well, clearly it's for design. No, those weren't part of the predictions. It's
And
clearly
something
not
else-
the case.
And something else too is
That's
a lot of the things, of course, a lot of the things that you've said are things that have been demonstrated by science, and we have statistics to demonstrate that they are significant. But there's a lot that I've studied. So I study the human body. This is what I've been doing for years. And there are many things that we've learned about the human body that I would know that you cannot learn just by common sense. And one of these, if you go read Embryology, this is my favorite example. It is not intuitive. The way that the human forms, and even the human heart, the way the human heart forms is not intuitive. So, and that's a whole other conversation for a different day.
My only thing is, I don't believe, right? When I say give, things that were given to us, right? I don't see it as, I'm not saying that how, what I'm saying is that God could be anything. We could have been put here by aliens, for example. Okay.
Oh my gosh, Snowden, I'm so not interested anymore. If you like, call back next time and give justification, because we're wasting time and you haven't given any justification for the claim that you think. So sorry, call back. It's just, we had other callers to get to. If you're not going to directly answer what the justification is, it's just a waste of our time. It's a waste of the audience time.